Alright, hello lovely people, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. So I hope you are ready for part 2 of Leviathan. I'm very excited, I'm nervous because, you know, shit was going down, things were not going well, and I just have a feeling that things are not going to end well either. So it's the Project Moon universe, you know? I just have no faith in them. I have no faith in things ending well here. So, chapter 12, which is called The Corridor, Shin Mang. Oh. Okay, let's dive in. We're going to try and do voices best we can, but also something I did realize is I don't actually think they gave me the names of every character. So, so I kind of need to figure out who's who a little bit. So, yeah, I know obviously Denver. I know Denver. But yeah, some of them, and I think this is the guy who I said reminded me a bit of Hong Lu. So yeah, I'll figure it out. We're going to figure it out. Don't worry. The code is I fragment and glass, according to Denver. She's done a fine job, boss. Lanyan spoke through the radio, his voice obscured by small noises and interference. I could give him a response without being audible, but I decided against it. Oh, is this like first-person Vigilus perspective? There was no time to be loitering around sending my thoughts when that person was ahead of us. And now we take a turn in this direction. One must accompany a guide to explore the ring corridor. The reason that the corridor has countless doors, the passageways connect to one another by intricate and complex rules. Getting lost in a space as linear as a corridor may sound unlikely, but I'm sure it was more than possible in this one. In the footage she filmed, Lapis showed us her destination in the corridor, and the guide here, this ring member, brought us to the entrance. And as they say, one who knows where the journey... Oh my god, there's art. I'm so excited. Oh my god, this fucking artwork. I'm so excited. One who knows where the journey begins and ends will not lose the way. In other words, now that we are allowed in the corridor, there's no need for a guide. Oh, I've just realized I can fucking see the art there. I'm an idiot. Oh, I see. Right. Yep, he's just cut the ankles off the ring guide. Got it. And there's Garnet being like, oh shit. Here we arrive at the VIP room, Mr. Gaze. Mr. Red Gaze. Well, I should say. Please wait here until Master Jumpsoon arrives to give you a more detailed explanation on the... Having outlived their usefulness, the guide's words fade away to no ears to fall upon. Next, the guide's body loses balance and collapses, their ankles having been slashed. Sir? Garnet was always like that. Even though he witnessed a good many deaths he could do nothing about. Even though he's realised that the warm hand of a comrade on his shoulder could cast him aside and measure the price of his life at any moment. Even though he was aware that this world is far too removed from ideals like reason or ethics for him to consider the tragedies he's seen as wrongful. What are you... He always distraught by the suffering inflicted before his eyes. Our infiltration mission ended once we entered the corridor, Garnet. That's why I have to deliver this as matter-of-factly as I can. I want Garnet to grow into a person who doesn't agonize over the sufferings. Oh my god, Dad Vigilus! Stop! We should try and make this quick. The gladius is fitted with a heating mechanism. The searing heat of the blade cauterizes the wound. It prevents the guide whose only fault was letting us in from bleeding out. They will likely survive. They may recover from the concussion sooner rather or later or call for backup, but this is no time to spill blood. Garnet's eyes dim upon hearing my words. Whether it be the lunae of disillusion, despair or expectation, it doesn't matter. I want him to soak in the darkness, to let it consume him. It's what he needs to do to live a normal life. Can't afford to repeat the scarcity of time to you twice. Let's move. Leaving behind a deliberately cold remark, I walked on. That's so interesting that it's like, he knows it's deliberately cold. Like, Vigilus, I think, kind of pushes away people because he's afraid of them getting close to him. Clearly from his past of killing people, from what the comments were saying, he basically put all those kids in the orphanage because he basically killed all their families. You know, I think there is a coldness to him because he knows how dangerous he is, but he also knows the danger of the position he's in as a color fixer. But at the same time, I think there's an aspect of him that doesn't want to be alone and you know, wants that closeness and wants to be seeing, like he wanted to see, you know, like Garnet. He wanted to, you know, see Karen and everyone, you know, like he like wants to like interact with them and stuff, but also he's like afraid of that, so he's like trying to teach them lessons in the way he knows how, you know. I'd be so intrigued to know about his past, like his full history. I really want to know that. branching path. The passage that seemed to extend endlessly came to an intersection. The correct path was already determined, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to let Garnet come up with an answer. I maintained a willful silence, waiting for him to speak up. I think we should take a right turn. I just feel like that's the right way. He might not know it himself, but Garnet is good at deconstructing and piecing together information. Internalizing the Sevens Association workflow he's seen during the Fixer qualification might have helped, but I believe most of it can be attributed to the powers of observation that stem from the refusal to be a mere bystander to the suffering of others. It's no surprise you feel that way. You know where we started and where to go. A correct answer deserves an apt explanation, I began to mutter. One can only find their way in this corridor by recognizing those 2 points. Since we know them, we can reverse by feeling what directions to take. Reversion of causality, was it? I think I remember being taught by the Association's training program that some singularities take advantage of this. That's right. And try to talk less to other fixers or clients. No one in the city welcomes a fixer who's in the learning stages. Make yourself look better than you are if it helps you earn your keep. Understood. Vim is restored in Garnet's eyes. As easily as he is disheartened, he can shake off the gloom just the same. Although I had no grounds to call his faith, it's how his emotions usually flowed, that things will work out despite it all. For a prosperous life in the city, perhaps such a mindset could be useful in the long term. Oh, hang on, because he was saying take a right turn. I guess at least they'll be facing their enemy. Oh god, okay, that's bad. I hear footsteps. Reaching the end of the hallway, I could sense someone approaching from around the corner. Long steps composed and nonchalant. A tall person estimated to be about 180 centimeters in height. Furthermore, someone who could stroll around the corridor like it's their own home. They're right around the corner, meaning it's a docent. You're a guest wandering around the ring's corridor without a guide leading them can only be one thing, an unwelcome visitor. The docent bursts into pure rage the moment their eyes reach us. I knew it. You were just another money-grubbing fixer after all. You used Master Jumpsuit's passion for art to feed your own greed. The docent doesn't seem to have any patience for my side of the story as she gripped the pole tight and started running at me. An entirely emotional act, her reason dominated by anger. The action I should take is made clear at that moment. Make sure you aren't ahead of me, Garnet. I just felt a tiny movement of Garnet lightly nodding into the corner of my left eye. Clash. The steel pole flew in unhesitating force and fiercely clashed against the blade of the gladius, creating a repulsive noise. It's more solid than I anticipated. The swing I made with the intent to cut through the weapon didn't go as planned. Ugh, I shouldn't have let you meet Master Jump soon! A furious scream flies straight into my face. It's undoubtedly of an unadulterated rage. Alas, in order to draw out the full strength of wrath, it has to be rid of spite first. A refined wrath becomes the power to overcome hardships, while spiteful anger only clouds its eyes. For instance, in the narrow space like this corridor, it would have been wiser to avoid engaging in close combat using a weapon as long as the docents. However, those consumed by wrath will only lash out feverishly in a clash of emotions. This is going to make things simpler. Squeak! An unpleasant hiss of metal scratching on metal. Her slightly quivering in the noisy friction doesn't go unnoticed. As soon as I kick the lower part of the lengthy pole, all the weight she placed on the front collapses on her. Naturally, her body begins to tilt in the other direction. The docent is leaning more and more, her pole pinned down by the edge of my sword, disarmed, completely defenseless. Lifting my other arm, I landed a fist directly in the unguarded solar plexus. Cut! I could feel her breastbone deform and break in two before she was sent flying towards the end of the corridor. Garnet. With my eyes locked on the target, I sought out a glimpse of the presence behind my back and whispered in his direction. Go find the lab and get in there first. Just me? Is that really going to be okay? Saying it will be fine won't relieve Garnet of his concern. I'll need something to convince him. I took off my coat along with the sheath and handed it to Garnet. Sir, that's... Take my gladius. In all his floundering, he managed to equip the coat and sword firmly. The mental words Lan Yen relayed to you. You remember those, right? And our goal as well. Of course! Even if he was prone to waver in his feelings, he was upright at his core. That was the important thing. The pitiful and heart-rending struggle to hold his roots fast, gripping onto the smallest specks of dirt. That's what mattered the most. You're not going anywhere. The docent stood in the forking patches of the corridor. It was clear from the get-go that breaking a bone or two wouldn't incapacitate them. There was just one thing. I'll deal with the obstacle. The path should be clear to your eyes as well. Right! I only needed a second to adjust the direction a little. What are you babbling about? The different colour of outrage is painted over her pure rage. Even if she can't hear the conversation, stopping in the middle of battle to have a casual exchange with a third party was sure to enrage her for being ignored. That's what I was looking for. The layer upon layer of anger was going to dull the sharpness of her mind. "You're not getting away!" I gathered strength in my legs. The feeling, or rather different from controlling muscles, it's more akin to hydraulic cylinders and motors pumping energy into my right leg. My next attack won't be easy to keep track of. Oh! So he's got modded legs. The distance was closed in an instant. Like a marble launched from a slingshot, I approached the target at great speed. The momentum is asking to be exerted. I simply opened my palm and placed it under my opponent's chin. Her head was thrown back to almost an unnatural degree. Using an augmented body is not unlike driving a car. The procedure on my legs allows me to maneuver them similar to how you feed energy into a car's engine and speed it up by stepping on the accelerator. You could also argue that augments are like vehicles and that the field of use as well as proficiency can differ depending on the manufacturer and model. However, a vehicle is ultimately a tool. It's up to the driver how to operate it. The performance just now was accumulation of my experience more than anything. As I figure when I broke her breastbone, this woman is tough. Her cervical vertebrae are still intact from the impact that would have shattered those of a regular member. Even though she's passed out, it was only for a moment. That fleeting moment was all I needed. Garnet. My arm extends and once again finds the fist in the centre of her chest. The macabre sensation of broken bones being further buried into the body can be felt, and the feeling of organs and muscles around them being torn apart is delivered through the skin. But it doesn't quite lead to the feeling of a life being snuffed out, as she already detached from the fist, tumbling through a door at the end of the corridor. I continued the sentence that had gone wayward for a second. No. Got it! Garnet started sprinting after a brief answer. I could have pursued the opponent and finished her off right away, but I chose to send Garnet on his way first. Incapacitating a docent of the ring without using weapons was going to take some time. After watching Garnet turn a corner, I walked through the broken doorway. Oh, that's so sick. In the massive hall, a myriad of purposeless doors lined the walls as far as the eye could see. There was no use in telling ceilings, walls, and floors apart from each other. If the door were to reassemble itself, I might have no way to return. That is how the hall was designed. The docent finally makes a smile. If you know what kind of place this is, then you should know that it was a mistake to walk into this hall. Well, I can't say if it was, but it does sound like something I've heard often. Bluffing, are you? That one is not something I've heard often. The docent corrects her posture and lunges at me. She looks ready to engage with me from a distance this time, either having calmed down or having determined that she would have the upper hand in this place. Unfortunately for her, she will not have that space. Artificially weaved muscle fibers once again build up strength. Propelled with explosive force, I reached her without delay. A fist is struck upon her chest yet again. The impact of my hand colliding with her solar plexus, or the sorry reminder of bruised flesh where it once used to be, is sent to me. Before I can drop her off the edge into the bottomless chasm, before she can regain her balance, the fight will be over. There's finally a faint sound of cracking and shifting. Finally. However, the tenacity of the docent is nothing to scoff at. Taking 3 blows in the same spot, she adapts to the attack and manages to stay in place, returning a bloodied smirk. The hall stirs with a strange noise. As though the floor wished to become the ceiling, the compartment of the two of us were standing in began to steeply incline. If I hadn't been here before, I would have been in danger of losing my footing. If I hadn't, that is. You. The wish of the hall had become true. The docent was hanging onto the edge of the wall, now become a cliff. Though she was certainly at a disadvantage, her eyes are still animated. The stubborn determination to live and urge to ascend the ledge at the slightest chance was burning in her eyes. And right now, I'm above her, a foot stretched right before her eye. I'll drag you into the abyss with me! I don't know. It certainly looks like I have the high ground. Prolonging this battle any longer could pose danger. I have to end it now. Right. It was something called Shin, if I remember her words correctly. In that case, 2 mangs should be enough. I deaden my breath and clear my mind. Rummaging through this bag of memories, I carefully fumble around the recollections and pick the heaviest and densest ones to fill my empty head. A group of children about half as tall as my waist gather around me. Boxes wrapped in colourful papers prepared for the kids, snow-covered streets celebrating creation. Emotions that may be trivial to others but are far more plentiful than I deserve. A bouquet of such emotions I could call absolution. A bundle that resembles the sunlight scattered away, like beams fading behind dark clouds. I remember every single moment of it. I engraved them all into my eyes. A lunar of hope I felt that day. A lunar of despair I felt that day. Oh, I think this is meant to be an image, but I don't know what it is. I'll see if I can find it. 2 rings of light that resemble the glow of the moon wrap around my leg. Carrying this nightly luster, the leg sorrowfully lands on the docent as she climbs up the cliff screaming. With such lightness I can barely hear the footfall, the sound so quiet that it's masked by her last gasp. In a most airy descent, the moonlit leg crushed the docent's miserably wounded chest. It was neither the augmentation, the blood pressure, nor the contraction of muscles. The only thing that moved was the mind. Kicking off the recall of the heart, I returned through the broken door presented in the hall. So this is the power of the light she mentioned, the power of sin. Oh, dude. That's so cool. That's so freaking interesting. So I'm presuming by she, I'm guessing, like, he's talking, like, I'm guessing he's talking about Iori, right? Like, is it her that told him this, or is this someone else? So, to maintain lexical consistency between the original Korean and the Japanese, the pronunciations of shin and mang will be written with romanization. The proper noun shin is based on the Japanese pronoun of the Han Chinese character and pertains to the mind. And in the original Korean version, Virgilius's description of various emotions all have mang present in them, such as hope, despair, disillusion, expectation. As indicated in the book's title, is also the pronunciation of the Han character meaning full moon. Given that Virgilius was originally a Roman poet, we've elected to use the Latine luna, plure lunae, alongside the emotions that invoke. Is that mang, I think? Yeah. To give similar effect when not specifically referring to mang as a proper noun. Oh, it's this character that we're fighting. Okay. Oh, so sick. I love their design. They look so cool. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they look so sick. That was really interesting. So the fact that he wasn't using shin or mang prior to this, like it's something that he's learned about recently, but also the last line, yeah, the power of the light she mentioned, the power of sin. See, is the light referencing Ruiner or LobCorp? Something to do with Carmen, like, or is this something that always existed? It's just so interesting. But yeah, this is the image that was cut out, unfortunately, but as you can see, the rings here, that's so interesting that like this is something that people knew about before Limbus even like started, because I don't believe it was in Ruiner. I don't remember it being in Ruiner. So yeah, to me, unless it was in Ruiner, please do tell me. But and from LobCorp's story that I know, I don't believe it was there either. So is this something that started to materialize after the light? Like, is this something Iori's become aware of? Like, I'm so curious, like, the origins of this and how people could discover that they could do it, you know? I'm just really interested. But yeah, this image is so sick. Oh, okay. We've got chapter 13, Rifts. I'm really nervous. My legs felt like stones. The fact that this is the first time Mr. Virgilius and I were separated since we came to the Rings Gallery has been weighing on me, so this is Garnet. Okay. To be honest, it isn't just the gallery. Most of the time, he's been with me to help me with work lately. And when he wasn't around, other experienced fixtures have kept me company. Being in those groups limited my role, but I was able to go unharmed thanks to them. And perhaps these heavy footsteps I'm taking right now might be the first leap towards being an independent fixer. I couldn't help but sigh. The corridor is narrow but unfathomably long. What will I do if I go the wrong way? What if the door handle was booby-trapped? Even if it isn't, what if the door doesn't lead where I want? No. What if I run into an unexpected foe and got trounced before I could even reach my destination? Take my gladius, is what he told me. I can only assume the reason he gave me his gladius was because he couldn't put his full trust in my capabilities. Still, trusting me with his weapon may have been his way of showing that he does have a bit of faith in me. If that's the case, and if I want to repay his partial trust, I have to do this right. Come on, pull yourself together, Garnet. Collecting my thoughts, I close my eyes. Doors of an identical shape, their numbers out of order. There's one correct door that must be among them. In my head, I slowly retrace Lan Yen's intel and the footage Lapis risked her life to film. My memory does not fail me. I clearly remember the starting point and the goal from the video. Room 718. The destination wasn't too far from where I was. Eye fragmenting glass. Although I was never taught to use mental keyword locks, the doors opened by just thinking the words. It was so simple and effortless, it made all my concerns moot. Yes, I think I have come across this before. I believe it might have been in Limbus, I think. I can't remember exactly when, but I feel like I've come across it before. Gripping back tension before I could loosen up, I gently enter the open door to the laboratory that I saw in the video. With each step I take, my neurons fire off furiously. Every little thing that comes into my sight brings up a past lesson. For example, the corner up ahead. In the 7 Association seminar, they advise us to hold our breath for a moment and keep our ears open for possible footsteps whenever we approach the corner of a path. There might be a trap just out of view or an ambush waiting to strike unsuspecting victims. The sound of my swallowed saliva rings loudly in my ears. It only seems loud because I'm nervous, I consoled myself as I quietly leaned on the wall and pictured what was around the corner. Faint and low-pitched sounds, the time between footsteps and the occasional chatter. 2 people are around the corner. Fortunately, they didn't seem to have noticed me. Unfortunately though, this corridor is way too clean. I didn't see any objects or props that I could use as a cover on the way here, and it'd be reasonable to guess that there won't be any ahead either. Conflict is probably unavoidable. You've got to be aware of your limits and know what moves you can and can't make in battle. While tightening my grip on the gladius, I was reminded of Rikako's words. She would often make insightful remarks. It kind of bothers me that her stare falls on me whenever she says such things, but I'm sure she meant well with the advice. And it was thanks to her that I could shake off thoughts beyond my level right now. In all likelihood, trying to mimic the surprise attacks Vigilis often performs won't work out. In that case, a better plan would be to drop my foe's guard by making myself look sloppy and then lunging at them. I should be able to close the distance while they're confused. They'll soon brace themselves and attack me, but when they do, they'll probably go for the part they see first, my left arm. That's when I'll thrust the sword into the vital point with my right arm. I suppose losing my left arm is a price I can deal with. Deciding whether to give up my non-dominant left arm instead of my right was a result of weighing my options. I heard prosthetic replacements for frequently used body parts cost more, something about being trickier to replicate the muscle mass and nerve compatibility. I felt pathetic for having thoughts like these. Why am I making plans with the premise that I'm going to lose an arm before I've even begun fighting? I'd be thinking of ways to get through this without losing any limbs. These aren't the kind of thoughts he would have. If only I wasn't such a milksop. The footstep grew close enough to drown out my stray thoughts. There's no time left to strategize. I'm a pushover, so I should do what a pushover can do to win. What? I don't remember how I made the leap. The target's frightening breath, their shoes squeaking against the floor in response to the sudden assault, the fluttering of white gowns, the terrified faces of 2 researchers enter my senses in disconnected snapshots. Despite being members of the ring, my opponents didn't appear to be good fighters. However, they seemed to have some means of self-defense, judging from the way they reached into their coats. I gave them an exploitable opening, moving my left arm in their way. Please, not a critical spot. Ugh! Bracing for serious pain in my arm, I stabbed the gladius into one researcher's heart with all my might. Ugh! I could feel the gladius push its tip through their muscles, but the pain crossing my left arm never came. Were they too struck with panic to attack? When I glanced at my left arm, I saw the coat had stopped the blade in its tracks. That explains why he gave me the code as well. Before I could let gratitude and relief stay in, the researcher at their side now charged at me with their weapons drawn. Stay away! I struck my gladius in an attempt to hit the blade of the dagger they pulled out. Then I felt a strange click from the hilt. Huh? Clank. Instead of the blades striking each other, only the sound of one separated from its base falling to the ground had reached my ears. It fell off the dagger like melted ice cream. The heating mechanism. I remember the guide's wound being cauterized by Mr. Vigilis' sword, and now the same burn was left on the upper half of this researcher's body, split in 2 and dropped to the floor. Astonished by the sharpness of the gladius that can cut through a person's body smoothly and durability of the coat I'm wearing, I felt a small pang of guilt for the 2 bodies on the floor. However, that soon subsided once I reminded myself of where they worked. Looking for the kids I saw being tortured in laboratory machines, I ran across the corridor. Lapis! This place was far more repugnant than the footage. Thinking of my friends who must be resting in discomfort inside the rows of test tubes made my stomach turn. Is how you can increase the refraction rate. Noted, but if the refraction rate is too high, following the sound of familiar voices, I found Rikako and Nansel wearing M-Corp attire. Some researchers seemed to be giving them explanations of the experiment they were doing. I see, so this lever... I could sense relief in the eyes of our 2 fake M-Corp employees when we exchanged glances. Rikako chuckled and nudged her chin while Nansel gave me a discreet thumbs up. Yeah, I think we've heard about all we need. Pardon? But I don't think I've even started on the glass window superposition or the linkage. Nah, forget it. You must be tired from the lab work, so why don't you take a sweet nap? Nansel, Garnet! Rikako's fist hit the flabbergasted researcher in the stomach. Meanwhile, Nansel snuck up on the researcher next to him and choked them from behind. In the time it took him to deprive the researcher of consciousness, Rikako had already taken down 3. There were 7 researchers in the lab. Rikako and Nansel knocked 3 in less than 5 minutes. I was able to do the last one with ease, boosting my confidence to get a feel of what his sword and coat were capable of. Though, of course, I still had a long way to go to get on the levels of these skilled fixers. Garnet, did you get here from the corridor by yourself? You've gotten pretty good. Nansel showered me with praise and raised thumbs up. That wasn't anything impressive. That wasn't anything impressive. All he did with our boss's sword and coat was beat a few pansies that couldn't wield a knife to save their lives. Ma'am, I saw you cheer from all he thought, yelling, yeah, go get him and such. I did, but only because it was so insufferable to watch. What, have you have a problem? Rokako made a gruff reply. Their quarrelling that used to have me concerned about the state of the team felt like a breath of fresh air here. Perhaps it's these moments of relieving tension that help them to complete so many field jobs. Mr. Vigilis will be back soon. How are things going on your side? We were able to figure out the controls and how the machines work without much trouble. Bit of time wasted thanks to Nansel being a total bungler with machines, but hey, this wasn't a half-bad record. Come on now, I only struggled one time. Back when I was your grade, it only took me a glimpse to get stuff all figured out. Fixers these days are raised too soft. Rokako's words made my heart beat with anticipation. The two of them were assigning the roles of gaining entry into the lab while disguised as moonlight stone careers because they earned high fixer grades, not through stunning combat expertise, but through a plethora of certificates for various professions. We needed skilled personnel to deal with all these buttons and levers of careless handling could cause terrible accidents like what was filmed in the footage. I remember hearing from Denver that the reason Rokako kept Nansel around, even though she scolds him like this daily, is because he had skills worth developing. She wouldn't have talked to him in the first place if he was an actual lost cause. That's what Denver had added as she giggled. In any case, having two capable fixers with me lessened my worries. Then, can we start rescuing my friends now? Where should we start? I asked in a hopefully admittedly hopeful tone. I wanted to rescue the kids as soon as possible and find Lapis. Oh. The two didn't look too delighted, however. Rokako made a perplexed face while Nansel slunk his eyes away. I was familiar with this air. After watching Lapis's videotape in the office, my plea to hurry and rescue was met with similar coldness. Garnet, our primary objective is to seize singularity. Don't you remember? It's the reason we got into this job. Rokako said in a slightly frustrated but appeasing tone. I knew that. Vics are motivated by the sense of interest. I was well aware that I should grow accustomed to this and adopt their mindset sooner rather than later, but still. I know, but if you know the controls, then it shouldn't be an issue to stop the machines right now. I'm not demanding that we push everything else aside to save my friends by force. If they know how to operate the machines, then surely there's nothing stopping them from getting the subjects out. I tried to persuade Rokako with that logic. About that, things got a bit more complicated, Garnet. That's when Nansel reluctantly brought up something. We thought we could just turn the machines off and set your friends free, but we learned on closer inspection that the data will reset once the machines shut down, which means, in short, losing the data means we lose our chance of seizing the singularity, so the kids will have to wait. Rokako always based her priorities on value. When the two objectives were in conflict, she would discard the one with less worth without batting an eye. Perhaps remain level-headed through the process what allowed her to climb to where she stands now. I can't help but wonder how I look in her eyes. An immature rookie who whines when things won't go his way. An incompetent fledgling unfit to work as a fixer. Or worse, she might not be thinking of me as a colleague at all. Her priorities might have shifted a little had the subjects lying in the tubes been acquaintances of her co-worker. But what if something happens while downloading the data? And here I was, miserably insisting on the unreasonable once more knowing all this. Garnet, let's say we open these tubes right now to save those kids and lose the data. What next? We'll need some leverage to use in our favor if we want to get out of this alive after provoking the ring. Ma'am. Nansel looked at Rokako as if he wanted to stop her, but she went on. Our boss will probably manage, no problem. He's a color and everything. But what about me and Nansel? And the people at our office and you? She rebuked even harder, then continued with a vague look that didn't appear to signal sadness or anger. I don't think I can handle spending the rest of my life being chased by the ring. Are you prepared to bear that responsibility for us, Garnet? An agonizing air fills the silence. The most agonizing of all was my own behavior. All I could do was stare down at my own feet, unable to stand my ground against Rokako's argument. I thought I was ready to face this when I asked Vigilis for help over the payphone. I thought even if saving Lapis was an arduous ordeal, I'd be able to do it with the help of the office and from him. But in the end, even that stereotypical feat of overcoming hardship was the preserve of those with power. That's why Rokako and Nansel have been planning ahead, looking far into the future, taking into account what kind of organisation the Ring is, the ramifications of getting into conflict with the Syndicate, the losses it will cause and the gains they could reap if the operation is a success, in spite of the risks, all of it. Can I bear that responsibility? Of course I can't. I can't even be sure of my own immediate future, so how would I do something so far-sighted that planners aren't confident they can manage? There's just no way, even so. I know all the kids lying in these tubes by name, but you two don't. You don't know the soured sweetness of half-melted candy sticking to its wrapper, held in the small patient palm for hours and hours. You don't know the chilly breaths we had to let out to make the fanciest drawings on frosted windows during a cold day with broken heaters. Our inherent death gave richness to each moment of our lives. So, we weren't related by blood, but we were family nonetheless. I know all of them. I sank to my knees at the cruelty of having to weigh the lives of my dying siblings against profit and loss. Garnet, but how awful it is I still couldn't reject it. You're right about everything. No, I'm actually not sure if you are, but it's just so upsetting that it sounds right, and I don't know what I can say to prove you wrong. I get how you feel. That wall of helplessness you've hit is another name for reality, so you need to accept it. We can't afford to live in fantasies. Nansel put it sedately, to which Rokako shrugged. It's a hurdle and every fixer has to go through to become a high-caliber workforce, right, Nansel? You used to be such a big ditzy, too. I'm used to it now. Nansel said in agreement, though his smile left his face for a second. Perhaps we have all stage of pubation we must go through. Once we've hardened enough and become fully prepared to leave the cocoon, only then will we begin our own flight. In this metaphor, I'd only just be a small larva just beginning to make my cocoon. I hope the pain that will mold me into a butterfly is sensible. Alright, enough of that. Time to get back to business. You cool, Garnet? Rokako saw me give a weak nod, then turned to Nansel. Hey, Nansel, why don't we make better use of the lab space now that there's no one here to interrupt us? We're gonna have to hurry, though. Sure thing, ma'am. Nansel replied casually. He then entered the control room to work with the panels. I can save them. Rokako and Nansel are quick with their work. There'll definitely be a chance once they're finished with the singularity. Muttering what could only be taken as a resolution to myself for an excuse to my friends still trapped in the machines, I headed for the entrance. I wanted to be ready to fend off intruders in case anyone appeared. However, I heard the clacking of shoes coming from a completely unexpected direction. Someone was walking into this place from inside the control room. Oh, shit! Oh, they're so fucked! Oh, they're so fucking dead! It was a person with multiple rings, the auctioneer Vigilus and I saw. What's a maestro doing here? Oh, we're so cooked! Oh my god, everyone's gonna fucking die. Oh, everyone is gonna fucking die. Yep, nope. They're so dead. I heard Rokako's confused exclamation. All of us probably shared the same feeling. Has it been a diversion after all? Sneaking into the lab while your allies joined the auction. Jumsoon was calm in spite of the incapacitated ring members and researchers collapsed on the floor around her. There was not a shred of unease from the way she skimmed over the outfits Rokako and Nansel were wearing and nodded as if she admired the craft. It seems just not the children you're trying to extract. Was I really, truly deceived by Sir Vigilus? Maybe I should have paid heed to the caution. Don't come a step closer. I know you're head over heels for this tech. One flick and I could destroy every bit of data you've required. Got it? Rokako warned, holding a lever. Jumsoon gave a vacant look at Rokako with a mysterious impression, and she raised the corners of her mouth very slowly. It was not my intention to eavesdrop on you, but you seem rather fond of realities. What? Rokako returned. She seemed to be taken aback by the arbitrary remark. Realities. People and their obsession with it. Personally, I'm averse to that word. Her wandering eyes suddenly fixed their gaze on Rokako, and then... Oh! No! Ball sacks! I fucking knew it! Oh, I knew it! I knew they were cooked! But wait, is that not Nansel? No! Oh! Fuck! No! Why? Balls! Oh! Rokako frowns in pain and staggers. On the other hand, Nansel maintained his usual calm expression, only he wasn't offering a hand to help Rokako stand. Wait, has he been, like, thingied? Or, like, was he evil the whole time? Oh my god, was he evil the whole time? No! Oh my god, my throat's so dry. It didn't take long to grasp what had just taken place before my eyes. Comprehending it, in the other hand, needed more time. The blade Nansel was holding had impaled Rokako's abdomen. Rokako seemed to realize the same thing. Looking down... Fuck! Oh, I just read head! Oh my god! Looking down the blade poking through her stomach, she turned to Nansel, who was standing at her back. Nansel. Like you said, ma'am. I figured we were on our own to make ourselves a way to live. You damn little... When did you join hands with them? When we were setting up the operation. And you a grade 3 fixer like me stood no real chance. You gotta show some love for your office mates at least. You've sunk low. You'd steady yourself too. You don't put others in your priorities when you can't take responsibility for their survival. Truth is, I considered bringing you round, but I decided not to. You're not the type to mingle with others easily, after all. Is that what you meant by... Well, this was reality for me. Nothing's too low for reality, is it? Rukaka opened her mouth to say something, but soon closed it back. Maybe she'd run out of strength or couldn't find anything left to say. I took her and Rukaka collapsed to the floor for me to finally speak up. Why would you... In response, Nansel shrugged with a quiet cackle. It was though he was telling me the answer was stated multiple times already. In some ways, his gesture resembled what Rukaka did a bit ago, and that's finally when something dawned on me. If this was the reality, perhaps the pupa shouldn't have left the cocoon in the first place. There was no such thing as sensible pain. Ah, thank you for coming all the way here, my precious gem. Jum soon spoke to me, an elegant voice smooth as marble. To tell you the truth, I'd given up on the gem that is you, Garnet. The red gaze was a massive thorn standing in the way, and you'd even become a fixer. What a hassle this... Oh my god, they're after Garnet all this time! Ah! Ah! No! No! Not my boy! No! Oh my god, no, I'm so upset. I'm so freaking pissed. Oh, you bitch! Oh, I'm fuming! Oh my god, I've got a new hated character in the PM universe, Nansel. Screw that dude! Oh my god, the traitors! I need a traitors list to put on the wall so when they return, we can laugh. Oh, I hope he gets his just desserts. We've already had one bitch in the PM universe get away with it. We can't have two. If Nansel's alive by the end of this shit, fuming, raging, I will be. Oh, absolutely raging. I went really Welsh. I don't know why. Anyways, right. I'm fuming. I'm so angry right now. God damn. Me? I aim to create uncompromising perfection. But because of your little deviation, I almost had to compromise with reality and undermine the integrity of my art. I've been feeling rather unhappy because of that. I really owe you my thanks. She even bowed her head like she sincerely wanted to show her gratitude. Realizing that all my friends, including myself, were treated like nothing more than materials for the twisted work of art that had set my heart ablaze with anger. Why? Why did it have to be my friends? What kind of grudge did you have against the red gaze? I vented my unbridled anger at the maestro. Why did it have to be the orphanage? What they needed was an ounce of happiness, not more tragedy. We were destitute children who were trying to find crumbs of joy in smallest things. I can't imagine a reason to go to the lengths of inflicting misfortune on people like us. See, what I'm wondering is, do they know? Do they know that Vergilius killed their parents? I don't think they do. Grudge. Yes, Jum soon tilted her head as though she'd heard an unfamiliar word. I bear no ill feelings like that. Don't you know what I mean, Garnet? That orphanage was chosen. Chosen? That was not a word I was familiar with. It's where the first miracle occurred. Right there. Right then. Where you were. Miracle. We never saw any miracles. We were busy savouring little bits of happiness that weren't anything more than regular occurrences to others we've never... Then it hit me. One thing flashed across my mind. It was a catastrophe, not all reminiscent of a miracle. It was the exact opposite of one. The incident was a terrible mass of flesh appeared at the orphanage and took so many lives. Chaos, the Lapis, and I could barely survive. An event that caused Miss Vergilius, the Red Gaze, to stop visiting the orphanage. Is that what she's calling a miracle? Wait, you aren't talking about the incident on Christmas Eve, are you? What else could it be? It couldn't have happened on a more fitting day, truly, befitting a holy eve commemorating birth. It was a miraculous day of uncut gems beginning to shine. I wanted to believe I heard wrong, but it was simply out of the question. That was no miracle! My body is shaking. I was overwhelmed with fury upon listening to her disregard for everything I cared for. My head was boiling with rage. I couldn't even form words properly. No. It will mark the beginning of everything. The starting point of innumerable worlds that we will unravel from now on. While I stay silent, Jum soon keeps running her mouth. You might not have known this, Garnet, but our gallery had been planning to make something fascinating for a good while. For that to happen, we must dedicate utmost care to every step of it. We can't settle for anything less than what is chosen by the world, Garnet. You heard its cry, didn't you? The first of the resurrected to return from the scattered light. Her voice raised higher and higher as she went on. An ecstatic flush suffused her face and her eyes grew thin as she was observing something captivating. And in a moment she made an order. Mr. Nansel, was it? Could you pull the yellow lever next to you all the way up, if you please? This lever. Nansel hesitates for a moment. I look into his reluctant eyes. No, please say that's not it. Please don't accept that's part of your reality. I stared at him with pleading eyes. This is what you think it is. Even though I don't know the lever's exact function, one thing was clear to me. That everything I did to save my friends would be for naught. That everything will start falling apart right before my eyes. That this downfall will be caused by someone who I thought was family. That I will no longer be able to save Lapis. Understood. Nansel! A shout akin to a scream escaped my throat. My legs were frozen stiff until a second ago began sprinting towards Nansel. But I was wrong in the end. It wasn't me who was in his right mind. Rakaka gave me harsh but truthful words. And yes, I can never open my eyes. This is reality, Garnet. It's time to wake up. Disjoined World's Identity Superposition Device activated. Oh, hang on. Disjoined World's Identity Superposition Device activated. Initiating refraction rate intensification sequence. Target, maximum refraction. Following the announcement in a dry mechanical voice, a chorus of distressing hums filled the lab. It was the sounds of rifts opening, and the sound of something shattering within me, impaled by the stake that is reality. You are fucking kidding me. Okay. Nansel is on my fucking bitch list. I am fuming that he betrayed them. Fuck's sake. Like, I get it. Going up against the ring is terrifying. But, like, these people were meant to be your family. These people were meant to be... Like, these people that he had worked with for years, and he just threw them all to one side instead of trying to dissuade them from going against the ring. Like, absolute freaking dickhead. Absolute dunking dickhead. He really is. He can piss right off. I hope he dies. I do. He deserves it. People who have not deserved that, have gotten it. He needs to go. Nansel needs to go. If you take a Rakako out, which I'm fuming, because I really liked Rakako, fuming about that. That is well unfair. Who the fuck knows where Denver is? Denver was busy getting, like, eyeballed by that weird ring dude. And then, like, the guy on the like, headset, hopefully he's okay. And then Vigilis is just kicking ass. But, like, Garnet is in fucking danger. They were after Garnet the whole fucking time. Holy shit. Oh, do you know what? I was wondering about this a little bit. Confused, because in the manga, they refer to Jumsun as male, but he's referred to with female pronouns in this chapter for Leviathan, specifically the word this. This is for two reasons. So Jumsun's name is traditionally feminine in its formation, being a suffix typically reserved for females. Jumsun has a feminine appearance to Garnet's eyes, but he hasn't explicitly learned yet that Jumsun is a man. Oh, I see. Okay, maestros are always referred to with a he as a form of respect to that title. Think of it as army privates referring to a female sergeant as sir. This is why Garnet maintains his incorrect. I see. So because from Garnet's like eyes. Oh, that's actually really, yeah, that's interesting actually. That's actually clever. I never actually thought of that, but yeah, fair enough. Right, I'm freaking scared. Garnet has now, like, the refraction device has been switched on, which means disjoined worlds, fuck. Oh, fuck. We're in fucking danger now, people. Chapter 14, Reflected World. Oh, there's pictures, okay. As the sound of the wrists echoed through the laboratory, the children inside the machines began to spit out unintelligible things, screams, and painful wails. Stop, please. I don't want to see. I'm looking into myself. I can understand what the last utterance meant. It was evident with the myriad of scenes to have unfolded in a flash before my eyes, and at the centre of them all was my back. It was quite strange looking at countless versions of myself from behind, though it wasn't terror I felt. It was the sight was rather tranquil, in fact. Perhaps a more apt way to put it would be that I was unsure of what emotion to feel. Then all the visions twist, flip, split and waver, until everything begins to overlap. My multitudes occupying or being placed in the space turn to look at me. My eyes begin to meet one of the dozens, hundreds, thousands of my other selves. It might be that his that met mine, and at a moment's notice the sceneries fade away. As though claimed by a bottomless chasm, I vanish into the tremor. I was on my knees, wailing in the midst of heavy rain. The storm in my heart raged with such fury that the downpour couldn't compare, and my despair grows grimy, sodden in the rain. Why am I crying out here? I was a member of the streetlight office, an unremarkable one with unimpressive pay and a lack of fame. In other words, it was a job that I had no reason to be attached to. Then one day, we were invited to a place called the library. I lost Lapis, though I survived. Shut up! Shut up! Oh, that's so cool. Oh, no. Oh, interesting. Okay, oh my god. We left you behind as you became part of the library's collection. Dude! Oh my god, this is so sick! Oh my god. Stupid idiot! Why? I hope the Lapis who'd replaced the cake in the fridge. I remember that one time on a rainy day like this when I got into a fight with Lapis over something small. It was so heated by a mocking tone I was on the verge of raising my fist. But when I simmered down a little, I noticed she was holding an umbrella over my head as she kept replying to my grumbles in the same sassy tone. The streetlights always stand solemnly shrinking down in the dark. Letting it gently illuminate the lurching waves of my heart would often help me calm down. That made it my wish to be like you, shining ever more brightly in the dark. I have to get Lapis's book from the library. That's what I can do for... For a while I poured out feelings couldn't quite describe them then. Sorry if that's super loud, by the way. I don't know. The light shined down on me gradually dimmed out before fizzling out. My surroundings blur again like raindrops running along a window. The me and the scenery casts his gaze upon me to meet my eyes. I don't try and avoid my glare. Director, how could this even be considered tolerable? The outcry of someone breathing heavily from uncontained emotions reached my ears. As I looked around, hearing the unfamiliar title, a desk piled high with papers caught my eye. It felt like a rather friendly sight, but the feeling of unfamiliarity dissolved like spume. I take a deep breath. My men are too easily upset by this immediate injustice, too eager to argue with it against logic, as such small things, such an insignificant thing. The southern branch of the She Association was rotten to the core. Oh my god. I aimed to excise each and every trace of the corruption taking hold of this organisation, but I still had work to do. Though I haven't had proper sleep in 10 days, this was not yet the time for rest. I can only say this. I want you to suppress your feelings. Remind yourself, money, fame and power rule over this world. I thought about the fixers of partners' offices of whom I heard were all killed off. The Section 3 director had summoned me on one day to demand straight away that I report what I'm up to, and when I replied that I planned to fix what is broken, they pulled out a pack of cigarettes and burnt through it in one sitting. Why that person decided to help with the cause was beyond me. They swore they'd retire next year too. As a matter of fact, we might face annihilation ourselves if we're not careful. Or worse, we might already be on the way down. I wonder what look will be on Thelma's face when he hears of the Section 4's demise. It was my job to hearten up my subordinates and assure them that we're almost through the crisis. I should tell them with unwavering confidence. However, being confident and having to be confident were two different matters. I had to ensure that everything I did wasn't a fool's errand. I must see to it that this is not a dead end for my men. To ease this troubled mind, I turned to look out the window. Then a gust of wind blew outside, turning the world upside down once more. My eyes meet another's. The broiling heat wakes me up at dawn. A weak breeze produced by my decrepit fan does little strife the beads of sweat trickling down my back. I had to be up by 6 in the morning anyway. I got a decent post at the local library and I could avoid the attention of my landlord to leave at this time of day. He forgave me with a generous smile when I couldn't meet my rent for 2 months, but his understanding of juvenility turned to clamorous demands once he noticed my overdue rent would continue to grow for another month or two. I could use some cat. I kept writing and erasing text messages. Living in a rural area, my parents don't know how pricey things are in the big city. They think I've taken a midnight shift to get myself some extra money, but they don't know how hard it is to cover the gas, water and electric bills for my cramped lodging, on top of food, travel and all the other little things. They were reassured by their son that his academic excellence at the top of his classes would put him and his family on the road to luxury, but they didn't know that I applied for a less university to secure scholarships. They don't know that I had to take a semester off to make a living, or that I was busy flying from table to table serving customers at a barbecue restaurant while others were busy flying in and out of the country, building international experience and studying abroad. I wanted to know where it all went wrong, but with everything taken together there was only a conclusion to make. I was the one who tried and failed to qualify for the jobs. It must have been my lack of effort that got me rejected. If only I'd slept just as less than I did. If only I'd brought one fewer piece of clothing. If only I hadn't got my hands on a different few because I got sick of instant ramen. If only I didn't have to study less and work more to make up for the hole it made in my balance. If only I didn't let temptation get the better of me. Because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't trying hard enough. I stepped outside to get some fresh air and gazed at the sky. When I was asked one time what kind of person I desired to be as a kid during a job interview, I wanted to say, I wished I could be rich enough to take a hot bath in winter. That was enough for me. The interviewer didn't seem to agree though. I should get another job. I'll get up at 4 every morning. I ran my fingers looking for job openings on my phone. Looking for gym receptionist. My eyes caught a good enough offer. You can't even find a part-time job that pays this much for these hours anywhere. I might even find time to study during the shift if I asked the owner nicely. I was immersed in such thoughts under the blazing sunlight. Yeah! Oh, that's so cool. I might have been caught up in my thoughts to notice Oh, the plane's crashing. Oh, holy shit. I did think that looked rather close. I just thought it might be like landing. I might have been too caught up in my thoughts to notice the terrified screams of people fleeing in chaos. I thought that the shadow cast over me was a cloud or something. It was a particularly large and dark shadow, but I didn't find it strange. When I looked again, a plane came into my sight. It was flying far lower than usual. It looked as though it was about to plunge into the ground. I couldn't seem to recall the last time I saw the thing called an aeroplane fly above the city. More importantly, I can't tell for sure if I knew what an aeroplane was in the first place. Where am I anyway? What district of the city did I think I was in? A wave of nausea rises in me as the strangeness of myself existing in this foreign place as though I always belonged here becomes apparent. But all that confusion is useless now. I try as I might, there's no way I can outrun the massive bird of steel. I can tell from this feeling it's a race I'm doomed to lose, much like my struggle against poverty. And in the end, I can't escape the explosion the plane will cause crashing into the street. All because I was too slow. I was too incapable. I should have taken out life insurance. When I came home every winter to see my father's back as he carried the cauldron of water he boiled with our barely functioning gas stove, that was the last image that flashed in my mind. In a hot blow of hot wind, everything went dark, for I realised that my eyes came into contact with yet another eye, and the world shimmers once again. Next up is a genuine article presented by Master Garnet himself, an orange gemstone process out of Carnarvon, a subject procured from an orphanage in District 22. A voice coming from the side opened my eyes. An orphanage. Carnarvon was a shy kid who would only nod and shake hands instead of speaking up, but when we were alone, I was taught how to whittle with grace. I'd take a moment to examine myself. Oh, I'm wearing clothes only members of the ring wear. Next to me is an auctioneer, excitedly following raised hands and chanting bids. I'm at a gallery's auction. There we have 3 million on. The gentleman over there put up 4 million. Now we're 5 million on. Will anyone give me any more? Bang. And there we have it, a deal of 5 million on. Congratulations. The strike of the gavel brought me back to reality. I could finally take a close look at the item placed at the auctioneer's side. You are gems, and you must discover that you will possess unparalleled beauty if you keep cutting and polishing yourselves. I was reminded of the lesson my teacher would preach time and time again. Teacher, have I been to a seminar in one of the galleries? The world should have been unknown to me, well known to me, but it's bothering that it occurred to me in an unfamiliar scene. That mattered little though compared to the jewel before my eyes. So beautiful. Oh, that's so fucked up. Oh, so he made... Oh god, so he made one of the kids in the orphanage that gem? The gemstone glistened with a brilliant red hue reminiscent of sunset. My eyes filled with ecstatic delight upon behold of its luster. The mystifying and magnificent colour is exhibited only by trapping the rough gem in extreme heat and pressure until every aspect they possess has been compressed into a single point. I can picture the process vividly in my head. I can almost sense the aesthetics of cruelty at the centre of this precious stone. I want to see more. What splendour will a gem of greater size show me? Now that I think about it, a friend by the name of Aqua had clear blue eyes resembling an ocean vibrant with life. If I can have a gem holding that colour, there's a way to make it. No. I shook my head in immediate denial of what I thought I had, but it was no use. There was no hiding that I considered how to process my friends into luxury items just seconds ago, as if I was willing to carry it out as soon as I had the method. In that turn makes me wonder how I came up with the idea of processing friends. Have I ever had a friend named Aqua? Before that, I can't even be sure I ever had friends at all. Nothing is clear. Am I suffering some kind of hallucination? Blurry memories of unknown origins are trying to obstruct my vision and judgment. Huh. I can no longer find the reason for the tears were flowing from my eyes. Of course, it would seem that Master Garnet has been touched by the recognition of the true value of his artwork. The auctioneer glamorized my tears with a sign of overflowing gratitude shed by a moved artist. As revolting as it is, I can't say that it's wrong. I adored this gem more than anyone, yet loathed it at the same time. Why? Why? Why do I loathe this beautiful yet melancholic piece of work? Melancholic? What about this gem evokes such a feeling in me? Wasn't it processing a friend the most rapturous part of making jewellery? No, that is no friend, it's a gem, an uncut gem. Why are these odd memories invading my mind? Keep it together, maestro. Oh, he's a maestro of the ring! Fucking hell. Before I knew it, the crowd murmurs, applauds, and all the other noises tormenting my ears ceased. See, I will say, aside from, like, the library one, I guess the she one, he's been in quite high positions. So, does Garnet have a really good potential for being quite powerful, I'm guessing? Eyes send a piercing glare towards me from the cracked window. Pointing hands extend from sleeves belonging to different clothes, and mouths move in unison to speak one word. Garnet. I stumbled trying to regain my balance. The lab was in my sight again. It felt as though only a fraction of a second had passed, but simultaneously I felt as though I'd gone through multitudes of decades and different lives. The tubes have gone quiet. Not a voice is heard. I peek into the machines to find the truth behind this stillness. These kind of look like the gemstones that I've seen certain characters wear before. Like, they kind of look like them. I don't know if they're meant to. Inside, I find friends wrapped in some sort of translucent membrane, twitching irregularly. They were curled up like the fetuses waiting to be birthed anew, rejecting all interference, yearning to that return in the primal state. Ugh. Just as I was overcome with vertigo and sickness, the world shifted yet again. A foul performance relentlessly stabs me. Thousands of notes penetrate the body, echoing the whole nest. All city dwellers stand in place, taking in the tidal wave. Oh my god, the fucking pianist. Oh my god, taking the tidal waves of music. Fuck off! Oh! 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 What the fuck? The black silence? What the fuck? Oh my god! Oh! No! No! Wait! He's meant to be Roland and Lapis? Sorry, I read a hell of a lot. Lapis is Angelica. Shut up! Oh! No! I'm sorry, he has the potential to be strong then. Totally does, right? He's fucking Roland in an alternative universe. Is that why? Is that why we won't get a Roland ID? Because Garnet is Roland in an alt universe? Holy fuck. No fucking way. Burning anguish swells my heart. It's too hot for me to try and hold it. What lies before my eyes is beyond belief. It hurts to look. Perhaps this kind of occasion that brings a person to bloody tears. Why do I have to be robbed of my mundane happiness the instant I find it? Why was the pageant I bought crispier than ever today? Sorry, Lapis. I was too late. I remember you saying you were a fan of the streets of music, so it'd be okay. This tragedy could have been avoided had I found a way for us to move into a nest. Oh my god, because that's what he was trying to do in No, that's literally what was happening in Runa. He was literally doing that. Like we found out all this story that he was trying to join a nest. Oh my god, I remember you saying that oh god, sorry, my brain. Oh my god, this is fucking me up. Holy shit. The piano had long since ceased, but the sound still stings me. Maybe the performance has never ended in my heart. I'm going to live the rest of my life in regret of this moment, staring at you in helplessness, having become a part of the performance, drenched in notes of blood raining from above. This silence, this hell. My knees dropped to the ground, my legs fully bent, it didn't hurt. I'm once again touching the cold floor of the laboratory. Dozens of worlds come crashing in and then sweep away in waves. In one instant, I was a fixer at the streetlight office who had just lost his co-worker. In another, I was a director at the She Association sending his fixers to doom. I was a poverty-stricken job seeker in the unrecognisable metropolis. A maestro of the ring, absorbed in beauty, a fixer who faced the tragic loss of his whole family. My boy, Roland! Ah! The despair of all my selves was unbearably torturous, and I felt the urge to turn my eyes away from everything and take refuge at the edge of the world. But that wasn't to be. There is still too much that remains for me to neglect and hide from. Even though the memories I experienced were harrowing, the pain I felt was proof of the love I held. Oh my god, he's so in love with Lapis. Oh my god, stop. I'm going, no, no, love in this universe never ends well. Never ends well. No. Stop. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking cry. This is so fucking oh my god, he married her in another barrel. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. That's too fucking sad. There is still too much that remains for me to neglect and hide from. Even though the memories I was experienced were harrowing, the pain I felt was proof of the love I held. I see that even if all is fated to disappear without a trace one day, there are so many things that shine while the moment is in your hands. That crossing this vast, harsh wilderness is not an insufferable task thanks to the patches of flowers I find along the way. That was a scent my friends deserved to perceive. They were not meant to be forsaken to such a place as this. No. Oh, that's so sick. Oh my god, Garnet, my boy. Oh. Holy shit. Dude. That's so fucking cool. Damn! Splendid. Simply splendid, Garnet. Your sanity is intact at such a high refraction rate. I heard Jumpsuit's voice through the window. I must pull Mr. Strord out of his chamber and put you in there. You were the brightest gem all along. That memorized look I'm sure I had at one point on one reflection is severely repulsive. That was the most disgusting pair of eyes out of all those refracted I saw over the window. I've seen many pitiable, desolate and sorrowful eyes until now, but that was the one I can't stand. Even a minute's brush of eye contact would engulf me in uncontrollable fury. The experimental data is almost complete. Just a tiny bit more and I can perfect it at last. The glass window. So remember, engrave those moments in my memory. The pain will be forged into a knife that will cut through your heart. My own guilt combined with the guilt pouring from my friends laid inside the machines. When I find the determination to keep these feelings with me rather than try to shake them off, I realize now that my body is in complete disorder. My mind is able to confront it directly. You. I now declare, adjusting my half-crumpled mask, feeling the silence that shrouded me in darkness radiate outwards. You'll die by my hands. In the most painful way imaginable. I'm sorry, I need to go back to this. Bro, that's so sick. Oh my fucking God. So that's interesting though, that he's kept his sanity high. So clearly he's found something to focus on and he's like focusing on that specifically to keep it together so that he can essentially try and take out this maestro. I'm rooting for him at this point. Come on, dude. You freaking got... If someone's got this, bro, it's gotta be you. Oh, man. That is crazy. The fact that he's Roland. Holy shit. Also, I'm convinced that these look like the gems that I've seen on people. Okay, this is a really bad image for me to do this. But look, like, it really looked like this gem thing of, like, these. Like... I don't know. And we like... I don't know. I think there could be some connection here. I feel like, in fact, it's like on a necklace. Either that or it's holding her thing on. I'm not sure. It kind of looks like it's on a necklace, but also that's a really tiny image. But like, I don't know. There's something about these. And also the fact there's lots of different ones. I'm not entirely convinced they're not related somehow. But also it seemed like that looks so much like one, right? Obviously not the one that she's wearing, but it looks a lot like them. And obviously they're real expensive. I don't know. I feel like after the events of this shit still goes on. You know? So I feel like maybe Diaz bought this from the ring. Or maybe that it was gifted. I don't know. There's something... I'm not unconvinced that there's not a connection here. Considering that we also know that the House of Spiders and Diaz... You know? There is... Like, Diaz let them in. Like, Diaz... is up to some shit. You know, I'm not convinced, do you know what I mean? Like, very sus. As I thought, young G was right. Someone in the lab coat entered and broke the silence. Nansel made way for the scientist. It was a familiar face, the same person seeing the experiment alongside Jumpsuit and operating the machines in the footage Rikako showed me. Judging from his indifference, I suspect Nansel snuck the man in when he and Rikako had first infiltrated the place. That result is a first even for you, isn't it, Asaya? Jumpsuit takes a step back so the man she called Asaya can speak freely. His eyes seem to be locked on something far beyond his surroundings. It was as if he deemed the incapacitated ring underlings of Rikako's body lying on the floor unworthy of his gaze. It appeared as though Asaya was observing me through the glass wall all this time. The glass window is a technology that can superimpose worlds upon each other, albeit in a blurry state. Even though it's not as stable as the mirror, it's capable of superposing a large number of worlds. His eyes were carefully examining my body in detail, scanning through my limbs that have taken different forms, going from right to the left, and then torso, right leg to left leg, tracing over the slithering snake. And most of all, the curious stare of his emotionless eyes eventually met mine and stopped there. More precisely, he was seeing the eyes of many different garnets laid over them. Oh, I could see an exotic sparkle in his eyes. I'm amazed by that man's ability to bear it all. Of course he can. He's a gem discovered by yours truly. Emotions flooding in from one man's worlds must be fighting for control as we speak, yet here he is able to stand his ground without being swept away. His assessment of my current state was accurate. By the way, sorry, I forgot to read out the title. Half-Baked Furioso! This bitch is gonna yeet! I'm so excited. As he put it, my mind was being fractured into pieces, various pain-filled sounds being echoing within. Pleased to look at my scars, pleased to see my suffering, raging, crying, screaming in resentment of my adversary, myself, or the world as a whole. Different though they are in approach, all the instances of pain are equal in pitch. With each blink of an eye, I had to withstand moments that removed me from my own self to return here. Isaiah nods in marvel. Oh, so you have learned how to maintain the focus. I looked up at him. That's why you're able to keep your mind as your own, despite embracing so many pains that not a trace of your original exterior remains. There are still foggy spots here and there, but those can be clarified with no problem, and then, once I do... Unable to contain his thrill, he gapes wide. Ultimately, it could become a singularity to express the mirror of my friend Yi Sang's creation. Oh boy, Yi Sang! You bitch, trying to copy him. All it took was curving the refraction rate slightly and the things it achieved. Refraction rate. I've heard that term before. In Lapis's footage, Jumsoon ordered researchers to raise it far past the normal amount, and the scientist did as she was told, in spite of the concerns he raised. Consequently, the children shattered miserably. The higher refraction rate means you yield more of your heart to the glass window, but it allows for more panes of glass to stack. It can only be successful if you master the delicate art of perishing your heart without killing it, like you're doing right now. Meaning the kids who regressed into cocoon forms were faced with as many, perhaps 1,000 more worlds of their reflected selves as I did and couldn't withstand it. Now tell me, little gem, how were you able to achieve it without any prior experience? I beg you, young friend, this has the potential to be greater than the mirror technology. My glass window can rise above all its competitors in the same nature. Let's put aside rubbish like the water or the puddle. Such luck-dependent things aren't worthy of being considered scientific. Such passion. It really was worth risking N-Corp's pursuit to bring you here, Isaiah. Oh, sorry. Such passion. It really was worth risking N-Corp's pursuit to bring you here, Isaiah. Jumsu says, making satisfied eyes as Isaiah, and all of this disgusts me to the core. It's simple. I decide to give them a piece of the insight they seek so dearly. Mustering the strength to get this choked voice out of my throat. I have... What did you say, Garnet? Did the Red Gaze hand something over to you? Jumsoon approaches the glass wall to hear me better, to observe me closely for any previous techniques Mr. Vergillis might have granted me. What does she expect? Of course I won't possess anything impressive like that. Though he gave me his gladius and his coat, I'm no longer using either of them only. If I had to name the reason, I can bear the crushing weight of the countless glass windows. I am going back with them. It's faith. Faith that I'll save Lapis and my friends and return to the office with Mr. Vergillis. It'll keep me secure till the end of my rope. These kids will break free from their cocoons and come back to us. Lapis may be enduring immense pain somewhere here, but she won't let go of the thread of hope. A massive lance handcrafted by Alice's workshop maesters falls into my right hand. In the world where I was a colour, I knew how to wield that workshop's weapons. After. The memory vividly imprinted upon each fibre of my muscle shaped my posture into the ideal javelin thrower stance. I'll kill you. Oh, that's so sick. Oh, that is so sick. Oh, interesting. Hang on. So these obviously are like different ones of the kids in different mirror verses. I'm trying to see if I like recognize any of like this one looks kind of familiar. Creating a shockwave thrashing the eardrums, I outstretch my arm in Jumsoon's direction. The last crashes right into the middle of the glass wall. Jumsoon's brows flinch in response. The walls begin to crack around the workshop weapon and fell to bits with a loud crackle. This is rather surprising. This glass can't be damaged with most weapons. I see Jumsoon's face between the falling shards. Mild surprise is all you would show. You have no idea how clear and unshakable this faith sustaining me is. You couldn't imagine what it's like to have lived your hot life of greed. But my faith is fervent, aflame. With the lance now departed, the bat in my hands, its heat burns my palms red, sending a wave of searing pain through the skin. Ugh. But I soon realised the scorching sensation came from the burning of my heart, not my hands. This mark was left when I lost what was precious to me, and it ached as I looked at the quiet flickering streetlight. Then, a spark flown from the fiery anguish landed upon me. Blades of sorrow gently piled up, adding weight to the heap. Though my mind had wavered, I was able to handle it. The weighty pile of sorrow turns to anger. Speak. My body was propelled to Jumsoon's vicinity in this instant. Speak, damn you! The flaming bat whistles towards Jumsoon's head. Dude, this is so fucking cool. The sound of rushing wind, crackling fire follow after a short interval. Jumsoon turns to the side to dodge, but I won't give her room to breathe. The bat is swung left, right, and then a circle before flying downward, yet Jumsoon evades it all with ease. Only a lingering trail of flame remains in its space. I can't allow her any quarter. If this weapon won't work, I firmly planted my left leg on the floor, lifting my right leg to swing at Jumsoon. The maester's outfit has flexible in enhancing material weaved into it, which allowed me to deliver a more powerful kick. It was a wisdom I earned through Maestro Garnet's window. Tell me how to bring them back to normal! The roundhouse kick caught her by surprise. Her reaction wasn't fast enough to get out of its way. The tip of my foot grazed her side, causing her to stumble. Still. The cocoons. It didn't seem to have left a good impact. She slows and turns her eye to the swarming kids inside the machines again. I'm overcome with unpleasant and appalling emotions. However, now is the time to suppress them. What are... I close my eyes and reach for the stillness in the dark. Then, I find a red line and grasp it. When I open my eyes, a red sword is gripped in my right hand. The blade slashed at Jumsoon like a gale, leaving a crimson trace. I attacked with the intention to behead her, but regained her balance quickly and deftly slipped away from the wall. But I won't miss her this time. Ooh! Oh shit, okay, holy shit, that's so cool. Oh, that's awesome. Damn. The sword's direction shifted in a quick twist and headed for Jumsoon's left shoulder. The sturdiness and flexibility of the Maestro's outfit meant a sudden slash like this was unlikely to cut through, but in a world where I was the director at association, I never once failed to slay a target with whom I made contact. An arm lopped off with its shoulder tumbled to the floor. Will you open up after I take your other arm? I was surprised by the way I spoke. I never thought I was capable of saying things like this. Threats or intimidation were usually a job for experienced fixers like Rokako or Denver. However, once I gave a lashing from my own tongue, I could see it was another part of the struggle to stay alive. It wasn't a boastful display of appease or the symptom of a cold or uncaring heart. To tell you the truth, those cocoons are new to me too. Even though she lost an arm, Junsoon's face still maintained an arrogant composure. It doesn't change that she's at a disadvantage. That much was clear. The tide of the battle should have turned in my favour with this. She has to be barely keeping herself up from the amount of blood she's losing, but Jumsoon's gleeful smile won't leave her face. My dear Garnet, I'm sorry to disappoint your desperation, but it's hard not to divert my attention to those curiosities. Don't be ridiculous! What else could have... At some point... As I interrupted the conversation began talking. It was in complete disregard for the fight that was taking place, or even the possibility that the sword I'm wielding or the other weapons in the scene might be pointed at him at any moment. He continued to talk with such fears were redundant. At some point, crystalloid or all-void transformations such as these began occurring in rare occasions after a failed test. Previously, all the failed subjects would do is shatter into pieces. What are you? It started happening around the second passing of the White Knights, presumably. What is intriguing is the natural occurrences of this phenomenon have been reported, completely unrelated to our experiments. Right, so their experiments were forming these, like, abnormalities, right? But also these abnormalities were occurring naturally, too. I couldn't understand. You didn't make them that way on purpose? Oui. What? Oh, Garnet. Why would we ever partake in this worthless endeavour of encasing precious raw stones in those fleshy sacks? But then, those cocoons. I've yet to hear any cases where the subjects went back to their pre-cocoon state. While there have been attempts to forcibly open the chrysalids, the results were rather abysmal. They seem to undergo a mutation of sorts once cocooned. What? Why are you so apathetic about it? Are you saying those kids have no way to go back to normal? Well, it is what it is. You never know. The metamorphosis might yield even more valuable gems. You mean there's really no way to turn them back? Is that right? No, it can't be. Whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to turn them back! Oh, fucking hell! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, this is so sick! He's gone full Roland! Let's go! I embrace silence. In my hand is a revolver. Like a skilled hunter, I have a complete mastery of this weapon I've never used before. I pulled the trigger without cocking the hammer to fire 6 shots. 2 of them managed to land on Jumsoon's upper body, but they failed to penetrate the clothing and bounce off as crumpled nuggets of lead. I pushed the cylinder outward to expel the spent casings. My other hand reached for my waist only to notice I have no reserve ammo. The gun, having outlived its usefulness, is tossed at Jumsoon. I see the lance I flew at the glass now struck on the floor. There was no need to think about what I do. I thrust it deep into my enemy's direction. She dodged? No, I won't let her again. A huge hammer is placed in my hands. It ruthlessly slams into the ground where Jumsoon had moved. She stepped back. Then the longsword should do it. This is so, oh my god. Cycling through the different weapon types. So fucking sick. So fucking sick. Oh my god. I mean, we saw like some of it in lore, but obviously Rian gave us some like the library of, like, sorry, Limbus company image of, like, the different weapon types and stuff. This is so fucking cool. So cool. More, I still need more. A Ranga dagger in my hand, an Alice gauntlet in my left. I leap forward to see Jumsoon's infuriating mug still showing no signs of panic. I jab at a plate of steel in it and strike forth an edge of wrought iron, but she evades them, she dodges them all. That slimy crook won't let me hit her once. Why? I should have mastered these weapons, but it feels like my body can't replicate half my knowledge. This is interesting then. So this is backing up the fact that obviously when the sinners take on these forms, these mirror world IDs that we have, they're obviously not quite as powerful as the originals, right? So this is the same again, where like it can replicate it, but and like they feel like they know enough, but they're not quite as powerful as they are in those forms. Which is intriguing, because for example, when Sinclair uses his kind of the sign in the most recent Kanto, and the future version of him appears super fucking powerful, more powerful than like any of Sinclair's IDs, we believe. So like it just goes to show that this version definitely has its drawbacks, and Yi Sang's probably does as well, but I suppose it depends on how much they like faith they have and how much they believe, you know. This is so interesting. Holy crap. Grr. I can't stop here. I fling the dagger aiming for her heart. Alas, it's blocked by Junsu's weapon, held with her one arm. I need something more effective, something that other than the ones I've dropped on the ground. Now I hold a heavy mace. I viciously swing it to drive Jumsoon into a corner where she can't escape. She's cornered without a doubt. Though I haven't managed to land a clean hit or make her visibly tense, that won't go on for long. A shotgun will do well against a corner target. Curtain of black and white projectiles shower Jumsoon's body. Pellets, slugs, occasional flashes and flames. After emptying the barrel, I toss the shotgun away and summon the greatsword, striking down from head to toe. Silver casings roll around the floor along with empty shells. The smell of gunpowder rising from the spent ammo blends with the dust of broken tiles and walls, filling the room with odour. My last weapon will be Durandal. It will be her death sentence. With this final blow, I will end Jumsoon's life. Alas. Oh, fuck. Oh, da. Oh. And then what? What's the point when it won't bring Lapis back? Suddenly a mournful question rings in my mind. Lapis, she who was reduced to piano notes and scattered in the wind. The woman who will no longer turn up even if I wait night and day. The woman who was gone in every sense, leaving not a gentle breeze as she passed. The rest of my life will be shrouded in horrible darkness. Nothing will console me. In my world, gone forever, pitch black, sorrow will be the one thing staring straight into me. So it will all be the same. Even if I break this string of wrath before my eyes, nothing will change for me even if I brandish my sword for a better tomorrow, for you are trapped in the past and able to join me in the present. But no matter how far I go, all that awaits will be graves. Durandal didn't come, and at last, as though shells had been taken off, I returned to the man I originally was. The air around me wavers with the heat leaving my body. While I kept pulling weapons out to attack with, the burden on my heart grew, and eventually the reflections fell off layer after layer. Done already. Seeing me stop dead in my tracks, Jumsoon raised the weapon with one arm. All that onslaught was for naught. I was helpless against her assault, having lost the strength to fight back. Oh, fuck! Damn! Oh, fucking hell. Ugh! What I need is that brain of yours. I promise to show you even more worlds through reflections. I hope you don't mind, my garnet. I thought I could get back on my feet, but it was no use. My legs were sprawled on the other side of the room, broken and tattered. The lids of the laboratory pods opened one by one, letting out shrieks. I dragged myself along the floor with my hands to take a closer look. Oh, and all the abnormality. Fuck! What emerged from the cocoons were neither butterflies nor friends. Those are fucking horrible to fight. I hate fighting those things. They were things doing nothing other than screaming, crawling. One after another, things unknown to me were escaping the machines. Everything crashed to an end. Those beings crying in an unrecognizable language had not an ounce of possible humanity left in them. I get the feeling that I've been through this before. At least the darkly stained garnet behind one of the windows has. The inability to do anything and endless despair. Overwhelmed by that emotion, I retreated inwards. I was subject to constant pressure. The weight of the culminless glass panes finally sinks in. Curses screamed by myself from numerous worlds pressed down on me all at once. Bent, shrunk and warped with my mind, having nowhere to fall back. I want to regress back into the void where I would feel nothing. I was reminded of that rainy day. Feelings rise up against my will like dead fish floating to the surface belly up. Of course, that unwillingness itself had long diminished. Creepy and foul music enveloping the city passes my eardrums and drops off my heart with such a force that could erode. The suffocating emotions I felt that day constantly strangled me. My threads hidden in cocoons. I want to hide as they did, but then they crawl out. What emerged were indescribable beings. Friends. Plunk. Sorry, everyone. I was too late. Let's stop here. I think that's enough. No. Garnet! This can't be! How can this be? Shouts coming from outside grow faint. I slowly close my eyes, hoping they won't open again. Why must all of you gems go inside a cocoon? I hope no one comes looking for me. This will be a comfort I just won't give up. Isaiah! Explain to me, just what is this cocoon? And why does it have to ruin our experiments? It was so simple after all. It was simple as abandoning myself. There was nothing more than closing my eyes and leaving my body for hungered sins to feast on. Like that, I curled up into a tiny little world, and inside I faced the fires of guilt extending an arm to shake my hand. Oh, I'm so gutted. Like, oh, fucking hell, Garnet. So, something that actually just twigged to me, I don't know why it did twig to me before. Obviously, all of the different, like, types, like the different, like, ones of these, obviously relate to each of the sins. My brain just did not twig that before, I don't know why. So obviously, each of them that are coming out, like gluttony, wrath, you know, it relates to the different sins. So, is his gonna be wrath, or we'll have to see what happens. But the fact that he got turned, like the fact that he's turned into an abnormality, and clearly that's what's happening when essentially they give up. Like, that's what it is. Like, he's given up. He thinks the lab has become an abnormality. All of his friends are becoming these abnormalities. Like, you know, he's lost in the fight. Like, Roland as well, the despair that Roland felt was just so overwhelming that the ID actually got shed from him because it was just so overwhelming, which also might be another reason why we may never get a Roland ID, because the emotions that the character goes through with this ID is just too filled with sorrow, to the point where it's not even like the characters are aiming for revenge. Because, like, if you think of IDs that have, like, mass amounts of sorrow, so, for example, the Wild Hunt has huge amounts of sorrow for, like, losing Kathy, but, like, the point of that ID is, like, revenge. So, for this ID, for this Roland, especially because this was just at the point where he had literally just lost Angelica, he wasn't at this point looking for revenge. He goes through a period where he's just really depressed and really, you know, and he's essentially just trying to, like, get himself killed, basically, like that. And then he gets to the point of revenge. Like, he then reaches that point. But at this point, clearly this was not a Roland that was looking for revenge, but it's the fact that even doing this, no matter in what world, he doesn't think it'll bring Lapis back. And he obviously clearly loves Lapis as well, like, you know, and he's not going to bring his friends back. It's just giving up is what he's done, and it's just so fucking sad. Oh man, I just wish Virgilus could have showed up in this moment. Oh, I'm so fucking gutted. And, like, oh man, this is probably the reason why he's not come up, because he died. Oh man, so Rakakos died. Garnet is basically turning into an abnormality. Nansel's betrayed us. We don't know about anyone else yet, but for fuck's sake. Oh, this is so fucking tragic. Oh, guys. God damn it. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave this here. This is so fucking depressing. Part 3 will be up soon. I'm so sad. For fuck's sake. Leave me a comment down below what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out my other videos.